This is Pirie with the Coffee Runs Deep podcast, where we interview coffee farmers, coffee roasters, and we share their stories. Truly hope you enjoy the experience. What's going on, everybody? Pirie here, and this is episode 1. I wanted to give a big shout out to Nathaniel Johnson, for honestly just taking the chance on me to have him on as my first guest. It's always kind of stressful in the beginning, it's the first one. You don't really know how things go. You're working through all the kinks, and that's kind of what happened. I had a few audio issues. One of my mics would not actually hook up, so I had to use my vlog mic, which kind of allows a lot of echo in. So on my portion of the conversation, you'll hear a little bit more echo. I let Nate have the good mic, so his portion is much better than what mine will be. So it may be a little aggravating. Again, I do apologize for it. I'm working through the issues. I do know there was an issue, and I am kind of embarrassed of it. But, it's one of those things. Like, to do things, you got to be willing to mess up to move forward. And I want to, again, just thank Nate for putting up with me and just being a wealth of knowledge. I think you'll find, if you can get past the audio issues, that you'll find that Nate is super knowledgeable about his craft as far as coffee shops go, coffee roasting, just the whole. He's been in the business since he was around 21, and it's just super cool to see somebody find a passion so young and just stick with it and hammer it out and just, follow their dream. Anyway, episode 1 coming up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, start from the top. From the top. Anyway, a couple tough technical difficulties we're working through. So this is the Coffee Runs Deep podcast. My name is Rob, and my host today is now my new friend, Nathaniel Johnson from Reve Coffee Roasters, and I've been buying your coffee for a long time. In fact, when I first got into roasting, it was like, I think it was you and French Truck. I went and, tested because you want to see what quality is compared to what you can do. And it's like, I never could match y'all's quality.
Yeah, I appreciate you, supporting us and all that good stuff. So, and trying our coffee. I've actually watched your videos of you doing cuppings and tastings and stuff like that. So I always appreciated that and seeing that. So thanks.
Oh, no problem. No problem at all. So, again, we kind of already started the podcast, but then I didn't press record, so it happens a little bit.
A whole hour of
So we backtracked a little bit. But, so again, you started at a pretty young age. I think it was in college, you said, around 21?
Yeah, so right after high school, I started working with my dad, doing cabinetry work. And then during that time, I went to college for business because I wanted to open up, a coffee shop. I wanted to offer something because a lot of my friends were leaving Eunice in a small town. I'm like, well, there's nothing here, so I'm leaving. So for me, I wanted to offer something to the city. And so I went to school for business, and then I realized, I'm just going to jump into this thing. So I dropped out and started the...
Oh, so you didn't even finish college?
No.
Nice, dude.
Nope, did not finish. I guess, as I say, practice what you preach kind of thing. So I was just, going to school for business, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm gonna...
Yeah. No, honestly, that's the thing I tell a lot of people too is it's really only for some people, but if you got the go-getter mindset, you don't really need it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think for me it was. I had some blinders. I was 21 years old, and I just kind of thought, if it doesn't work, I have time to recover from it. So.
Oh yeah, you have a long runway.
Right, I had a long road ahead of me. So I just dove into it. Got a building downtown, Eunice, and started fixing it. It was pretty much a shell, so did all the work in there myself.
Yeah, I kind of want to jump into that a little bit. So when I was 21, I didn't have the mindset for business or anything. I was completely, in a different world. Yeah. What made you so focused at that point? Was it your upbringing? Was it your parents, dad, or anything? What kind of made you disciplined and focused to even want to do something like that at that age?
Well, I definitely think, part of it was my parents, or a big part of it, I would say, because they started their own business with their own, blood, sweat, and tears, and watching them do that while, growing up and stuff. So, and then my dad's dad had his own business as well. So I guess just coming from a long line of entrepreneurs played a factor, but it definitely wasn't all of it because, my family, not everybody in my family started their own business, So I think I just had it in my head. This is something I really loved and wanted to do and wanted to offer. So it was more than just opening up a brick and mortar store. It was a platform, a place to create for people, for the community. So it was a lot more to me than just like a business,
Yeah. So at 21, did you have any coffee experience? Was you working in a coffee, or did you just start fresh and jump into it?
Yeah. In fact, the only type of work I've ever done my entire life since I was like 11 years old was cutting. I cut grass for a living since I was 11, and I worked with my dad building cabinets, and then I, built houses and did really manual labor. Never did any kind of customer service whatsoever. So this was definitely the first of a lot. I don't even think I had a checking account when I started the business. So yeah, so I didn't even know how to balance a checkbook. So it's pretty awesome.
As far as like funding and all that in the beginning, did you just go take a loan out of the bank, or like how did you get it off the ground? Did you have an investor or something?
No, so thankfully, my parents co-signed in the beginning because I was 21 years old. I mean, what banker's gonna do?
No credit, yeah.
No credit, barely any. I did have a credit card, so I was able to had some credit. And I actually saved my money from graduating high school. Everyone gets, when you graduate, people give you money. I actually kept all that money that I had. I think it was like maybe $700 or whatever, and I put that into our account to start the business. So my dad basically co-signed and with me, and so that's kind of how we got it started. So got a loan from a bank.
So you didn't go to Cancun or anything, huh?
No, I didn't go to Cancun.
Went straight into business.
Nope, saved my money.
Like during the early years, like I saw one episode, I think, where you said you was working like 100 hours a week trying to just keep up. And tell me what that was about. Was that when you had 2 stores or 2 storefronts, or?
No, that was when we first opened up. I just had one. I did start a second location 9 months into the business. It was like a kiosk, but no, I was in the first location. It was just really me and like 3 other people.
Was that Mosaic? Or
Mosaic?
Yeah. Okay. I went by there the other day and somebody
really?
hit me up on Instagram. Was like, "Oh, Nate owns that one too," or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, "What? I didn't realize that."
Yeah.
So that's cool, man.
Yeah.
So that was your first place.
My first.
So how did you go from Mosaic to Reve then? What the name change and all that?
Well, so it's probably my lack of business savviness, I guess, but I really didn't think that I was going to do more after Mosaic. I was really content with just having this one shop. I mean, I remember being asked, some of the customers, they were like, "Oh, you're going to open up a shop in Lafayette?" And I told them, I said, I can't hang with the big boys. I can't, and I call it the big boys as being like the green giant, red giant, Starbucks and CC's. And so I was like, I can't hang with the big boys. So I never crossed my mind to ever get out of Eunice, open up another shop, even roast was never on my radar in the beginning. So I was approached to opening up a shop in Lafayette, and that's what made me move to Lafayette. So I helped someone start up a new shop. They were the money, and I was the operations person and manager. And I still own my own shop in Eunice at the time, and I was working for someone else running another shop. That's what moved me to Lafayette. So, but yeah, I was grinding, man. 100+ hours a week. I mean, every day working.
And what age was this? From like 21 to?
21, and then I left Eunice 3.5 years later. So, and to open up the shop in Lafayette. So, it didn't stay that way, the amount of hours I worked, but it started to slow down. And then when I opened up the location in Lafayette, then I jumped right back to working crazy hours and again, and because starting a business from ground up, you have to put a lot of work, especially in the coffee industry. So
I can only imagine. As far as like Reve, then I think you said it means dream.
Yeah.
Dream. Where'd that come from?
So I guess fast forward a little bit so I started the shop in Lafayette. 2 years later, I decided, if I was going to do this, I was going to dive headfirst. I wanted to be behind the scenes. I wanted to get really, really involved in the coffee industry, and because there's really no place to grow coffee in America except in Hawaii. The next thing was really roasting for us, and so we really wanted to dive into that world and create something special, and consult and share information with other partners that we do wholesales with and stuff like that. So that was very intriguing to me, and so I basically quit that location, still had my shop in Eunice, and I went to Portland, Oregon to learn how to roast with the SCA, which is the Specialty Coffee Association, which is where I first started learning. So a year before I actually left, I had started to learn how to roast and read about it and study it, and then, yeah.
What year was that, about year-wise?
That would probably would have been 2012. I started to really get into the roasting thing, and in 2013 is when we opened the roaster. So and then Chris joined with me, partnered with me after we had left John Street, one of the locations we were working, which was John Street Java at the time. Chris was like, I want to join, I join with you. I'm like, come on. And so we started it together, and we were patiently waiting for that roaster to first come in, and we was like two kids, just sitting on the porch, just waiting for that package to come. And we kept every day, we see the UPS or whatever passes by, because it was a small roaster, it's a 5 kilo. 5 kilo.
What brand was it?
So Osterk, which doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, okay.
Which was kind of sketchy, because we had the only salesperson in the entire United States. It was just one salesperson, and so he was in like New Jersey or something. And so it was the sketchiest thing I've ever done. And so we sent him all this money, and I was like, okay, when we're gonna get. It was like 2 months later before we got it.
It takes a while.
It takes a while, and so I was really nervous. I was like, did I just give this random person money he's not gonna get our roaster? But we got it, and it's all cast iron drum, which they don't really make anymore, and it's a great roaster. We still have it displayed at our location downtown.
Okay, I saw one, I think it was in the picture or something. Is it inside the actual lobby type area? Okay. It almost looked like a San Franciscan type when I first looked at it.
It does, yeah.
It had that resemblance to him, but I didn't see the big San Fran on there or whatever.
That's the first experience I had with seeing a roaster in person, was that particular brand. And we actually almost purchased from them, but they were, it was great, but there was a little too out of our price range at the time.
Dude, roasters, they're so crazy expensive.
Yes, they are.
What do y'all roast on now? U.S. roasters?
Yeah,
I think I saw?
U.S. roasters.
What's your experience with them?
That's great. Everything was, custom built, and the process was seamless. So it's a great roaster.
Yeah, sure. I've heard a lot of good things about even San Franciscan and U.S. roasters, both of them. But yeah, I didn't know how big is that one?
That is a 40-pound roaster.
Oh dang, okay, that's a good sized roaster then.
Yeah.
Well, y'all started off with a good sized roaster. 5 kilogram ain't small, especially starting out.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to, I guess take that leap of faith, and we, the way I was like, well, I had, at least one location that will buy from us, which is my shop.
Yeah, sure. You already had like kind of a guaranteed little market too, so.
It made it a little bit easier to kind of pull the trigger on that. And but I mean, it was tough in the beginning, because we were literally knocking on people's doors. Hey, try our product. Who are you? And so that was tough, because they were either buying from community or, from somewhere else. So to create a brand and an awareness and stuff was really tough in the beginning. And to go back to your question, and I didn't mean to brush over it, about Reve, we actually originally, which is still our legal name, is Salud. which, just means like typically, when you say salud, it's like salud, in good health, and you cheers, so we kind of had this thing where like in good health, cheers, and we still kind of do this to this day. You and I, when we first started drinking, but we wanted something more engulfed in our culture, which is of the French culture. So we first thought, let's call it Dream Coffee Roasters, because it's always been a dream of mine to kind of like start this. And for a while, I started getting really into it, 3 years before we actually started. So I was really anxious about doing it, but at least in my mind, I was really excited about the possibility of doing this. I just had no ideas where to go with it. But so we started with Dream, and then we looked up the French word for dream, and that was Reve, and then that's kind of how it.
Yeah, it's a pretty catchy name too, because it almost, like, whenever I first heard of it or saw it, I was thinking like the revolution of coffee, like a new coffee type revolution. But then whenever you look it up, and like once I heard y'all, I was like, oh, okay, it's a dream, So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Definitely pretty cool. So yeah, I saw Salute on the bottom. I remember way back. Yeah, I was kind of confused about that. So was that first place you started working at then, or?
What, Salud?
Yeah.
So Salud was just the name we started out the roaster with.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then we did a DBA with Reve down the road. So we just made a little shift. But,
Gotcha.
But yeah, so that's basically how it started. So it was just, at first we were just roasting coffee. We didn't have a storefront or anything like that. It wasn't our plan. Wasn't our goal actually. We just wanted to do strictly wholesale, consulting, training, and that was it.
Yeah. So your Mosaic store, you didn't put the roaster in there. You started a kind of a new location to kind of roast out of.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's funny because when we left the shop that I helped start in Lafayette, we didn't know where we were going to put the roaster. We had no idea. But I knew I wanted to put it in Lafayette because I felt like, we wanted to be the first in Lafayette to do something like this. And, it's hard to get a name for yourself in little Eunice, starting a roaster. So we wanted to try to like say like, here we are, kind of thing, so.
Lafayette's at that cool crossroads too, because like to get to Shreveport, everybody has to go through Lafayette if you want to go to Lake Charles or something. So it's kind of, y'all are at that little hub where there's a lot of people that kind of come probably from the interstate, looking up. So that's definitely a good little location. Eunice is a good little ways up there.
Yeah.
Kind of off the beaten path.
Yeah, off the beaten path. So Eunice will always hold a special place in my heart. So, we still obviously, we still have that shop in Eunice, but yeah, it's a little off the beaten path, and Lafayette has the airport and stuff like that. So it was just a lot of out of town visitors and travel, people traveling from all over. And so it just seemed like the right move. Yeah.
So what's your favorite kind of part of all this? Like, is it the business side of it now, or do you still like the kind of coffee side of it, or is it the roasting side, or do you like doing the more distribution kind of stuff like that, or what do you enjoy now?
So that's a really good question. I think the thing I enjoy the most is, I would say, probably consulting. The side of the business. I think that's probably the most exciting part for me, because there's nothing quite like the energy of starting a new shop. It's very infectious to me. And so, when you're starting a new shop with someone, you get that same level of energy that you did when you started your first shop kind of thing. And so that's always exciting for me. So to create something and then see it come to life and see it work, it's exciting. And I know when I started my first shop, I didn't really have anyone to help, with that.
You didn't have a
process.
guide or anything.
No, I didn't have a guide. I never even worked in customer service industry. So, in fact, it was so crazy the first day when we opened up our shop that my grinder stopped working for the first day, and I had a line out the door, and I was freaking out. I was 21 years old, and it's like, what is going on? I don't even know what to do. Now I know how to fix it like immediately, but at the time I was freaking out in line, and I had to turn a couple of customers away. And luckily, one of my good friends, who he was like, let me just take that and go bring it back and try to figure it out. And he ended up figuring it out. But I I got, I thought I was a little clever. I took the regular coffee grinder and I turned up the fineness, and no one ever told me to do that. And I poured it, and I was able to make some makeshift espresso. So it worked for a little while, and then we got the grinder back. But yeah, I mean, it was, not having any direction, not having a lifeline was pretty scary. So I want to be that for people who are opening their store. I have this kind of saying, I'm like, consider us your roaster, like we're roasting in the backyard. Like we're here for you, So anything they need, so.
Well, I kind of want to dive into that. So as far as your consulting, I didn't even know you did that. So like, say I go open up a coffee shop and I get y'all to roast coffee. Is that what you're talking about? Or would you help me open up the coffee shop?
Yeah, so we will, depending on how far along they are, like they're literally looking to try to find a building, we'll say, hey, this is probably a good spot. From that point all the way to the, to their opening up the doors. And yeah, we'll even, a lot of cases, we'll even be there on their opening day, making sure that things are running smooth and stuff like that. So we'll build our menu, help them build their menu, give them manuals, we'll train their staff, we'll, come up with recipes for them, and really help them throughout the whole process, how to design their bar and things of that nature. So we try to walk them through the whole process.
So do y'all take a stake in it, or is it just like they pay you a set fee for, for the consulting or something like that?
Well, so if they buy coffee from us, it's free. So,
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you go through the whole process helping them set up their cafe it's like some contract thing, you'll buy coffee for whatever? Dude, that's cool.
Yeah. But if they don't, then we do charge, which, has happened before where, someone was already have a roaster relationship with someone, and so we just helped them, start their shop up and stuff like that. So we've done that as well. So, but yeah, if you buy coffee from us, we help you get your shop going.
Wow, that's really neat.
Yeah, we kind of looked at it like, look, it's a win-win for both of us. It doesn't do us any good if you don't have all the tools and the necessary knowledge to make your shop successful. Yeah. So what, at the end of the day, what good is it? We want them to be successful. So
yes, no, I mean, honestly, it's for anybody starting up a coffee shop, like there's no risk there really. Like you're just helping them out, and then obviously y'all's coffee is one of the best around here, so. It'd be hard no, seriously. I mean, it'd be hard to like buy a roaster, open a coffee shop, and then do all that on your own. So if y'all offer that for free, I can't really believe that's crazy. So that's cool. Yeah. That's really cool. But yeah, I can only imagine if like that definitely has to help expand your coffee roasting.
No, that's the hopes, which, by the way, the great tasting coffee isn't me, it's Chris. So I just want to give a shout out to Chris on that.
Yeah, I want to have Chris on later too. So
Chris is always in the background, and so I want to give him some credit. Not feeling like he's in a roaster.
So. No, whenever I interview Chris, I'll make sure all the mics are working.
There you go. But yeah, no, I figured Chris would get a kick out of that. But yeah, so that's kind of what we try to do, and that's what I love about the industry. So that part of it is a lot of fun, and just forecasting and going after that vision and that future is really, really fun for me. So I like that part of it. I like seeing where things are going and try to get there. So that's the fun part for me.
Backtracking one little second. So with Chris, since we brought him up, how has that partnership been? Like, I always hear like either horror stories of partnerships, or you get two people who just jive and it's perfect. Have you always jived pretty good?
I think so. Maybe Chris can say otherwise. I don't know. It's funny that you say that, because my banker, he's kind of my mentor as well. I've been banking with him for 14 years, so we created a really good relationship. He was the one that took that risk with me, 21-year-old Nathaniel, and he would always tell me, don't get partners.
Yeah, that's what I always hear too.
Yeah, and so I didn't really have any. So for me, my dad's business, he has a business partner, and they've always jived well. So like they always worked really well together. And so for me, my experience was having partners wasn't a bad thing. I've seen it my whole entire life. So that wasn't really scary for me. And Chris is a ride or die kind of guy, so it was kind of a no-brainer, for me. So, he's a loyal person, so, and respectful person, so it wasn't really that difficult.
Yeah,
so.
That's what I've always kind of figured, like as long as the partner's values kind of add up and are aligned, then I don't know, I really don't see there's too big of an issue. But I feel when there's like somebody that has like more of an ego or whatever, and then there's the other partner who may have the knowledge or something, maybe like the Steve Jobs Wozniak type, I feel there's probably going to be some issues there. But as far as if both partners' values line up and you're both hard working, I can definitely see where it'd work out. So that's pretty cool to hear, because like, again, you always hear kind of the bad stories, but you never hear kind of the good ones that, it is working out, and you do kind of thrive off each other and help. So
absolutely. Chris and I never had a fallout whatsoever. So we've never had issues whatsoever. So
how do y'all decide on stuff? Like, as far as, do y'all have like meetings every week, or is it just like every once in a while y'all kind of get together? And
when we first started, it was kind of clear who was doing what. Chris was going to be all the roasting side of things, everything to do with the wholesale aspect of it. And I was the person that was going to do sales and all the other stuff. And so it was very clear, I think, each person's job was. And so I think that kind of helped out. And then, we would come together when it comes to coffee and decide, like, okay, we would taste test things, and we're like, okay, we should get this, or we should do that, or whatever. So we were both involved with the quality control aspect of the business. That was never like verbally spoken, which just kind of organically happened that way. And because it was just him and I in the beginning. We would just roast, taste, and it was just all we did. All day long, which is really awesome.
That was a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time, because like we had the easiest way to basically like blend. So we would put several air pots of each of the coffee. So it would be like Brazil, Colombia, Ethiopian. We'd be like, okay, 70% of this, 20% of this, 20%, and we'd taste the coffee. Like, we would brew it all. So that's how we would kind of like figure out how to blend coffee.
Yeah.
Without, just piling beans and then tasting it, and then have a blend of beans that you don't necessarily like. So that was our way of trying to do it. So we were tasting and trying things left and right.
I never even thought about doing it like that. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had way too much coffee in the beginning, because I didn't eat. And if you know anything about me, when my mind's on something, I forget to eat or do anything else but that. So my diet was not great during that time.
So when y'all first got employees, like, what was that process like? Was you kind of hiring friends, or was it or was you hiring more knowledgeable people even above you in the beginning?
So our first hire was a guy named Corbin, and I hired him at the location I was running in Lafayette, and he wanted to leave basically that particular location. So we was like, hey, it's time for us to hire, because we quickly realized, I guess I should backtrack. We quickly realized us just roasting and trying to create a name for ourselves was almost impossible. It was months of not getting a single bite on anybody who wanted to buy our coffee, and so we were like, okay, we have to have a storefront. That's the only way we can create, the demand. And so we started the storefront. We did all the work ourselves inside the storefront. We built the bar and all the tables and everything, and bringing back all kind of memories back to Mosaic. Then we opened up a storefront, and that's when we hired some people on to help us out with that. So I hired some of my friends, and then some people that used to work for me at the other location, and that was Reve's first retail store.
So after that, do you feel it kind of started to escalate a lot quicker?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. We really didn't gain traction until we left that particular location, because we call it like the Bermuda Triangle of Lafayette. It's like this weird, really difficult space to get in and out of. And if you just blink your eye for a second, you'll pass up the building. It was this old house. It has gunshot kind of like, shotgun kind of like style. And yeah, so when we moved out from that spot in downtown Lafayette, that's when we really started to see a lot of momentum happening. Yeah. So like about 2.5 years, we stayed at that first location before we moved into the downtown.
So if y'all would have just stayed strictly roasting, y'all probably, it'd have taken a long time to gain that train. Yeah. And 100%. I think that's what a lot of the roasters that I talk to, they're all starting, out of the garage, out of home, selling at farmers markets and stuff, but it's just really, really hard to get anything off the ground unless you have that place where people could come and actually, experience your coffee and stuff like that. Because everybody wants to taste it, and it's like, oh, well, send me some. And it's like, well, by the time you send out all these samples, it's like your profit margin's gone. You're not making anything. So it's that's always tough in the beginning.
It is tough because we felt like we were sandwiched between like the culture of where we are, sticking to what they've always known.
Dark roast,
community, mellow joy, whatever. And then if you weren't that, then you were buying from someone else in the West Coast because that was the only ones that can roast good coffee, Yeah. And so they were kind of like, who are you? Who do you think you are, kind of thing. And so it was a tough battle in the beginning to create a rapport and the respect that we wanted to create in the industry. So so retails would seem to be the right choice for us.
Yeah, no, I think y'all definitely been crushing it. I'm anxious to kind of see where all y'all expand to, and been hoping that y'all would come out to Denham or something. That way I don't have to drive so far. But y'all have any plans for? I mean, I don't know what you can kind of get into, but what are your plans then as far as your goals? Like, do you want to keep on expanding out, like go to different states, or kind of keep it to Louisiana, or what's your goal with that?
No situation that's ever kind of happened, we would just say no to. Like, we would at least entertain it. So we're not necessarily looking, but we're also not saying no either. Yeah. So someone comes up to us and says, "Man, like, you should really open up a shop here. I got the perfect location," or whatever. We'll go and entertain it, see if it's going to be something that could make sense for us and, at the time. And right now, with the way that I feel, I want to kind of focus on what we have. We do have some plans for our roasting aspect of the business that we're pretty excited about, and I won't say too much. But yeah, I think for retail, we're gonna try to stay doing what we're doing and really refine that. Yeah. Like what that looks like.
Yeah, it's a good at this time. I feel with everything that's going on, it's a good time to play defense and just kind of keep what you have. As far as being too risky right now, I don't know. It's pretty risky.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we did just open up a new location this year.
That's one in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, Baton Rouge.
I go to it. Yeah. It's a very nice location. Y'all picked a good spot.
Thank you. We appreciate that. It was our most intense location, I think. We had a lot of goals for it and a lot of ideas, and so we were excited to make it happen. But we had signed a lease on it before COVID happened. And then, so we were supposed to open in 2020 in April, and we didn't open in 2021. That's how long it took before we can actually felt comfortable enough to open the doors, So it put a big halt on that process and stuff. So right now, being that we're still kind of in the midst of it all, we're taking a back seat to it, and so just focusing on that, building that, structuring that, and really refining it, and so it's fun.
Is that what made y'all kind of think about the mobile unit and going and doing events? Was kind of the pandemic and everything?
Yeah, that's kind of what made me pull the trigger on it, because we felt like if we would have had this during the height of it when everything was shut down, this would have really been a good element to bring to someone so they could feel comfortable. So, bring them a coffee literally. And so that's kind of what made me pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty good diversifying kind of stream Yeah, that's definitely something you like. That's what I've been thinking too. Like during these times, if you're not ready to adapt at any given moment, it's really going to be hard to keep up, with everything that's going on.
Absolutely. I always have this kind of, I take Bruce Lee's sayings, like, got to be like water. Yeah. Water rolls over rocks. And so that's kind of how business is. You just got to morph into whatever's happening, So, yeah.
Water rolls over rocks. So, heck yeah, dude. So, like, your early years of starting, this is something I feel, you kind of hear a lot, like people feel they wasted their younger years on like drinking or partying or this, that, and the other. Do you have any regrets of starting as early as you did and kind of putting in as much time? I don't want to say like, do you feel like you're more happier and successful because of that time you put in? I mean, obviously you are, but do you ever regret anything as far as like what you've done or the time you kind of put in or anything like that?
No, I don't regret anything that we've done. I think if there is any kind of regret, if I can tell my younger self all that I know now, and still learning, by the way.
Yeah, and actually regret might be like the wrong word, but kind of maybe do differently or kind of what you would do better. Regret's kind of strong.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a great question, and I think it does kind of form in the same line a little bit of regret in the sense that I wish I would have cut myself a lot more slack, and then because I had this very, very unhealthy kind of view on what I thought I needed to be as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and I wish I could tell myself that that's just not healthy. But I also wish I would have been able to tell myself the things that I've learned over the years that could have saved a lot of headache and a lot of time, because I created a lot more work for myself in the future that I didn't realize, So I think if I can go back, that would be one of the bigger things. But yeah, I had this crazy philosophy. It was just, I guess it's kind of appropriate because of the Olympics right now. But how does someone get a gold medal in the Olympics? They sacrifice everything.
Yeah.
Everything for this.
Every weekend.
They're emotionally, physically, spiritually, everything is just. It's all in, At least it's what it looked like for me on the outside. Obviously, I'm not in the Olympics or anything like that. But for me, that's what I thought business was. It was like the Olympics. Nothing else mattered. It was this for this future idea, that was in the cosmos of the business world, and it was just very unhealthy. It was a very unhealthy philosophy, I think. Because I didn't balance out life and work. I didn't balance out people and work. It was just work.
And how old are you now?
36.
36? So dang, how many stores you got now?
So we have five retail stores, the roasting. We also, my cousin and I started a little side business doing fixing equipment. Good Ground Services is what it's called. So.
Real quick, so you got the coffee shops, the roastery, but then you also said you just did an Airbnb actually here where we're at, and then you got the mobile unit. Like that's another thing too. Let's dive into that a little bit. How do you have time, or how do you keep everything moving? Because that's one thing. Even my little YouTube channel and kind of the little stuff I do. It's like, how do you answer all the emails and like keep the teams moving and just complete everything? Like, do you ever feel overwhelmed, or do you have like a pretty good flow now where these are your days, you do certain things and stuff like that?
Well, first off, there is no way I could do this without the people that we have. The team. It's just no way. You have to have a core group of people that, that are dedicated, and I believe we do. And so for me, I try to spend a lot of time with my core group because, it's crazy to even think, we're at the point of the amount of people that we have team-wise. It's crazy. I'd never thought. It went from 4 people, including myself, to now 60, staff members.
60?
Yeah.
Cool. I didn't realize you had that many people. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
nuts. Yeah, which is really, really cool and exciting. So I spend a lot of time with my managers every month. I meet with them, and I call it coffee talk. And so we meet every month to talk about the previous month, and I ask them how they're doing. We try to create a good work relationship. Ask how the team's doing, and we talk about the shop, and so just kind of keep things in line. So that's kind of how I do those situations. Like I really try to spend time with them, meeting with them every month, and then they meet with their team, and so that's kind of the structure of it. So we really give a lot of autonomy to our managers, and so they really are the rock stars of it all. Yeah. And so obviously having Chris, taking care of everything wholesale wise is a big part of it, and just finding the right people. Having a sales manager, having someone dedicated to fixing equipment and things like that. Just putting the right people in the right places is really the key to it all. But there's been many times where it's been too overwhelming, and I don't even know how sometimes we got through it, to be honest. And pandemic wise was it was the hardest time to be in business, and we've been through a lot in our business, over the 14 years of business, with the recession and the housing crash and the oil crash and all these other different things that has happened throughout the years, and now a pandemic, and it's always been tough, and that's hard to navigate for sure. But ultimately, it takes a team of people, so that's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So definitely, I've always thought about that too. Even in places where you work, it's like, man, if they could just hire good people, the output would be so much better. Pretty much anywhere you work, that's how it is. So
yeah, we really try to involve ourselves with everyone. We believe in a lot of communication. An open line of communication. That way, there's a lot of if there's any questions or concerns, whatever, we can address those things and stuff. And so we try to keep that pretty open and clear. So I think that's a big element, is communication, and so we definitely try to do that.
And then as far as like kind of switching up gears, then as far as picking coffees and stuff like that, do y'all go down to origin much, and do you have a team that does that, or is it something you and say Chris or something do, or do y'all have like a team or something that maybe goes down there?
That's a great question. So Chris typically handles all that when it comes to buying the coffee, but we have visited a coffee we actually do direct trade with in El Salvador. We visit that particular farm. We've met a lot of the farmers that we do buy coffee from. So right now we have 2 direct trades. We have one in Honduras coffee. We do direct trade. We know the farmers. And then we didn't visit the farm, but we know the farmers. But the one in El Salvador, we've actually visited and went to the specialty mill and watched them do the whole process and stuff like that. And then we have a broker that deals with the rest of our coffee lineup. And then we get samples in, Chris cups them, sees which ones he likes the best, and then we decide from that point. And we always try to buy, the best quality we can get. So yeah.
Heck yeah. So last couple of questions then. As far as origin-wise, what's your favorite coffee?
Ooh, well, favorite coffee, it's a hard one. I really love African coffees. That's just generally my favorite. So, any kind of African coffee, I'm
Dude, y'all's Ethiopian is probably one of my favorites. It's like the blueberry smell I get from it. It's like insane.
Yeah,
in fact, a lot of people at work, I'm like, this is wine. Go smell that coffee or whatever, and they smell it and they're just blown away. It's crazy.
Yeah, I love that coffee a lot. Our Kenya, we just got a new Kenya in. It's amazing. Our new lineups with the direct trade that we do are exceptional coffees as well. The El Salvador is excellent, and the new Honduras we got in is also exceptional. And yeah, so it also depends what kind of mood I'm in too. Yeah. I'm feeling more of a heavier bodied coffee, it just depends what I'm feeling. I'll get a Java, or something, and if I'm feeling the light and bright, African coffees is where it's at. So.
Heck yeah, dude. And last question then, what is kind of y'all's plans, I guess, for the future as far as, we kind of went over it a little bit.
Sure.
But what's the next big thing you're wanting to kind of go down or kind of do?
Next big
Because
thing.
I noticed in Baton Rouge, it's kind of like a bar area too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I haven't really seen too many coffee shops that have kind of added alcohol, which I've always kind of thought, like, if they did, you could keep it open later, and obviously
Right.
it's a different stream of revenue, and I think it'd be a different crowd too, because like you're not going there to party and
Right.
get crazy, but it would be nice to have like a beer or two and kind of drink some coffee or something.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And that was a goal, right? It was to if you wanted to go and if you had a meeting and like, hey, let's go grab a drink. Well, I don't want to drink, but I can grab a coffee.
Yeah.
And none of those elements would suffer, because you find a lot of times when you go to a restaurant, coffee is not that great, or if you go to a coffee shop, the food's really not that great. Typically, it's like it's always one or the other, And although we're a coffee roaster, we wanted to create this space that no matter what, it was just top notch, and you might not even ever go there and have a coffee, and that's fine, because we're doing the other parts of it right, So that location was I would say, our newest, or what we want Reve to be as our retail stores. Yeah. That's kind of the beta testing shop basically, and so it was a lot of fun to create it. And barista means bartender, so means that's what barista means, and so that it made sense to me to have.
I never even realized that.
Yeah,
really?
have alcohol into it. Yeah, in Europe, and that's what you have coffee and you have alcohol in almost every single shop. Yeah. And so we wanted to kind of bring those worlds together.
Heck yeah, dude. Especially down here. Everybody
Yeah,
kind of like to have some coffee and beer,
Yeah, we wanted just this awesome space that no matter what part of the day you can get something, and you can all enjoy it. Whether kids are coming in and getting pastry, ice cream, or whatever. You don't have to be a kid to get ice cream. Whatever. But you know what I mean.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, that's really about it for me, dude. Cool. I do appreciate you taking the time.
Yes.
And
this is awesome.
Again, sorry for my malfunctions. We'll
totally
definitely make it better next time. You are actually going to be my first true episode.
Oh wow.
Because I did release my introduction episode. So working out all the kinks through this one. So thanks for putting up with that.
Hopefully it doesn't I didn't do such a bad job where it doesn't.
Oh no, it's never you. It's always me that's the problem. But again, in the future, love to have you back on, and
yes,
of course,
absolutely.
I'll probably have. I would like to get an actual podcast studio set up one day.
Awesome.
So they actually have a place in Denham now that you can kind of rent. It's a Local Leaders podcast, and I might actually kind of start doing them out of there eventually once I kind of work out all the kinks and everything. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
this is really cool, man. I love. Thank you for having me, and especially being the first of it. I appreciate that, and so you're doing a killer job. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, dude. Really do appreciate anything you want to say as far as where they can meet you at. Just ReveCoffeeRoasters.com and
just
order some coffee. Go taste some coffee.
Yeah.
Go taste the Ethiopian. It's how long do y'all always have that one in stock, or?
No, so we always have a type of Ethiopian coffee on rotation, but it's not always the same lot because we can't always get it, and so. And sometimes the lots aren't as good as it was the previous year.
Yeah, because I was thinking it's been a year, and I probably get a bag from Whole Foods over there in Baton Rouge, I don't know, once every 2 months or something. I'll get it again, and it's it tastes the same throughout the whole year. I think maybe even a year and a half ago, and I was I didn't know if y'all. I don't know. It's very consistent. Whatever y'all doing is very consistent with.
Well, we try to get something that's pretty close to it, but. To kind of keep why people like that our Ethiopian coffee from the very beginning when we first started. And so we've always tried to kind of keep that same element to it. So when we tasting different Ethiopians, we try to pick accordingly and always try to pick the best, obviously. But, and of course you can also botch a roast, but yeah, that's the way we try to try to do it. So yeah.
Well, cool, dude. Go check Reve Coffee Roasters out, and I think I called y'all Reve for the longest time. For some, in all my previous videos, like Reve.
No, it's totally fine because that actually happens all the time. So Reve is so it's spelled almost exactly the same except it has an R at the end. So it's actually, it means two the same thing. Both mean dream. Just one means a different type of dream. And so R-E-V-E-R, Reve, and R-E-V-E, Rev.
Okay. I don't feel quite as bad now.
No, you shouldn't, because we get Reve and we get all this other stuff and whatnot. So I guess that's kind of our fault for picking a French word. But
well, you're in Louisiana, so it kind of fits. So
yeah.
Anyway, well, that's it. Episode 1. We're done. We're complete. Heck yeah.
Truly hope y'all enjoyed the podcast. This is my first one. Learned a lot. Definitely going to be making some adjustments to things. Nate was a trooper and did a great job. Nate will definitely be coming back on. I know they got some big things in the plans, and I look forward to building, a pretty good relationship with Nate and them. Check out Reve Coffee Roasters if you get a chance. They're super cool. I'll link their website and stuff in the description below. Next episode 2, is going to be with Martin Granda. He's an Ecuadorian coffee farmer. They do a type of fermentation process on their coffee, and it's super cool. I learned a ton from that episode, and so yeah, that's going to be the next one coming out. Anyway, hope y'all enjoyed this one. Truly do. If y'all have any questions, like always, hit me up. I'm on all the socials. Just find me, and yeah, we'll be good. So, thank you guys again for tuning in. I love y'all. Peace out. Episode 2. Y'all look forward to it. Coming soon.